Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. We are in the full heat of summer right now, and the weather here in Northwest Ohio is yucky. We have high heat, high humidity, and still a lot of rain. And even with all these factors, there is still so much to do around the homestead. Hi, I'm Sonia. I'm a homeschooling, homesteading, spirit-filled, Torah-keeping mother of 10, and you are watching IHN Homestead. Colossians 3:17 states, "And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God and the Father by him." So right now I am slicing up some cabbage as small as possible because we are making sauerkraut. Now mind you, when I was a child, I very much disliked sauerkraut. I did not like the taste of it. I did not like the smell of it. I thought it was absolutely disgusting. And so for years, every time we had our garden, we would grow cabbage. I would use it in soups and I would use it in stews and stir fries because I loved a good cabbage stir fry with onions, butter, mushrooms, just the works. It was one of my favorite things to have. And my husband and I did some research and we found that raw cabbage really wasn't the best for you, especially for your digestive system. And so he asked me to start making sauerkraut with the cabbages that we grew in our garden. And I'm going, no, I don't like sauerkraut. I've never liked sauerkraut. But my husband likes sauerkraut. So I went ahead and started making some. And then about a year or so ago, I was making a beef roast in my Instant Pot, and it was all done, and I get it out and I start shredding it up, and the thought came to my mind that I needed to add sauerkraut to my beef roast, and I'm going, but I don't like sauerkraut. But I did it anyways. Come to find out, it tasted really, really good. And so I'm questioning myself thinking, this is not the sauerkraut that I had growing up as a child. This doesn't smell the same, it doesn't taste the same, and I actually really like it. Well, the sauerkraut I probably had growing up as a kid came out of a plastic bag that was on the store shelf. And so if there's any of you out there that were like me and did not like sauerkraut, try making it yourself. I think you will be really, really surprised. I do not add any extra seasonings or anything to my sauerkraut. It is just purely cabbage and salt. And just to you know, sauerkraut is actually really rich in probiotics. It also is a great support for a healthy gut microbiome. And the fermentation process reduces a lot of the digestive issues that people have, like the gas or the bloating or the constipation. So that's a win-win. The fermentation also increases the availability of vitamins and minerals. It makes it a lot easier for your body to get all those nutrients and to absorb, all those nutrients. The sauerkraut, it can increase your immune function because of that fermentation process. Some say it's higher in vitamin C and that it's an anti-inflammatory. I mean, the list goes on and on about all the good things about sauerkraut because of the fermentation process. So that's really nice. But what I'm doing right now is I mixed the cabbage around in the bowl with some salt just to get it started. And I did do a little bit of pounding with my pounder there in the bowl, mixed up my cabbage. And now I am working in small batches, putting the cabbage into my half-gallon jar here, and I'm just taking my time to mash it down. And I know when I'm done mashing is when I see a lot of water excreting from it, because that's what you want. And I just add little bits of salt at a time. I don't measure. I know there are recipes out there and they give you use X amount of salt per this size head of cabbage, blah, 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 blah. I just kind of go by eye, and it's always worked out for me. But I know the salt is important in the fermentation process, so if you're new at it, make sure you read those instructions. So if you look here, when I push down with my pounder, you can see water coming up, and that's what you want. That's a really good sign. And so now I am going to get a cabbage leaf because I do not have those little glass fermentation pucks that you can get online. I do a lot of ferments, and I feel as though the price of those fermentation pucks, the cabbage leaf does the exact same thing. So I just use the cabbage leaf. You put that in there on the top, and I press it down. I make sure it's touching all around the edges. And as I press down, the liquid from that sauerkraut or from the cabbage is coming up. I always add a little bit more water on top. I make sure everything is fully submerged. And then once I'm comfortable with it, I will get a lid on that, and I will get it in a cool, dark place to store for a couple weeks. Now, if you remember last week, I had shredded up all that yellow squash and all the zucchini, and I was making a squash relish. Well, we got really busy and I wasn't able to get it canned that week. So I ended up doing it this week. So that's what I'm doing here. I am done with I got done with the sauerkraut, got all that mess cleaned up. And now I reheated the squash relish on the stove, got it warm, and I am getting it all put into these jars. And I am going to get these on the stove in the canner, and I'm going to get these all canned up and labeled and down in the basement. Again, this is something that I have found. I was really nervous when I first tried out this recipe back in 2023. I wasn't sure how my kids were going to like it, but we had so much zucchini and squash and I wanted to do something with it. And I was very surprised. I don't think any of my children hated this. Some of them were, it's okay, Mom. But most of them really actually enjoyed it. And we'll put these on our hamburgers. We'll put them on our hot dogs. Sometimes if I do chicken, I'll add this to my chicken. And everybody really, really enjoys it overall. But we don't eat it in large quantities. It's just kind of a side dish or the condiment, that you can add to something to make it taste a little bit better or add that extra flavor that you might want. And I got my son Patrick. He's going to help me take these over to the canner. And this is what they looked like when they were all done. They turned out great. They all sealed really, really well. And we will get these, the rings off, and we'll get them labeled and put down in the basement. And in the midst of all the work, we have to have a little bit of fun and entertainment. And here was Norman and Rebecca just having a blast playing in the kitchen. Norman has figured out how to maneuver his walker around the house, and he has been everywhere, I think, in that thing now. And he laughs and he giggles because he has figured out how to transport himself from one room to the next. All right, and here I am back at it with all those blueberries. Now, I could not go and preserve all the blueberries because my children would be completely bummed about that. So I decided this morning to treat them to some blueberry smoothies. And I don't have any specific recipes for my smoothies. I really should find some because sometimes my smoothies turn out great and other times my smoothies, they're not so great. But one of these days, oh well. So I put a good amount of blueberries in here, and then I got out some of the yogurt that I had made the other night in my Instant Pot. I also got out some of my protein powder, and I thought, okay, protein blueberry smoothie, that works. We're going to add some yogurt in there, and again, I just kind of eye it. Yeah, that looks like enough. And then I think I also added some vanilla. I did add vanilla, and I added some stevia for a sweetener. And I just put this on there. I put a little bit of ice in it, blended it all up, and that's what we had for breakfast this morning. Now, it took me, I think I did 3 batches, you guys. Yes, I did 3 batches in order to give everybody some smoothie. The little kids got pint jars, and the older kids got quart jars. And then we also had some, my little snitchers. See, I'm all the way back there. And so they're both going to see, how many blueberries can we get before Mom gets back? But anyways, we also had some muffins. Mary had made a batch of muffins the night before. And so we had the blueberry smoothies with the muffins, and it was a big hit for the children. So there you go. So what else is there to do with 130 pounds of blueberries? If you have any ideas, leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. But the first thing that I did with these blueberries is I bagged up a whole bunch to put down in the freezer, because over the winter we will make blueberry cobblers, we'll make blueberry crisp, we'll make blueberry pies, we'll do the blueberry smoothies, we'll do blueberry muffins, anything we can think of. And if I have any left over by the following year, I might take some of those frozen blueberries and make some more blueberry jam. And so I went ahead and I got these half-gallon Ziploc bags. I got them labeled BB and for in the month of July in the year 25. And I am putting about 6 cups of blueberries per freezer bag. And I'm going to get these down in the freezer. And I think I did about 23 half-gallon freezer bags total, with the 6 cups in each bag, except for the last bag. I think I only had 4 cups in, but I can't remember, something like that. But I did a lot of these, and I'm really glad I did, because I do like having the quote unquote fresh produce to have during the winter, because blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, all that stuff is very expensive. And I have found that, especially the strawberries, when you're getting strawberries and they're out of season, they do not taste that good. And I'm also finding that even the strawberries that we're getting here in our local grocery stores, when it is season, they still don't taste right. There's just something not good about them. And now what I'm going to do is I'm also going to make some blueberry juice. I got the idea of making blueberry juice from Jessica on Three Rivers Homestead. I never thought about that. I was like, oh, well, geez, that's a great way of using up some blueberries. And it is super, super simple. All you do is put blueberries in a jar, fill the jars up with water, and you can them. And that's it. And the longer they sit on the shelf, in my opinion, the more flavor you get out of that blueberry juice. And so I did this process last year as well. And so I wanted to do it again this year because I really enjoyed how they turned out. And what I'll do is I'll take that blueberry juice and we'll just drink it as juice, or we'll mix it with some cranberry juice and drink it that way. And then all the blueberries that you strain out of it, we'll add it to our pancakes, or we'll add it to muffins, and so nothing gets wasted. Or sometimes we'll give it as a treat to our chickens. Our chickens really enjoy it. Another thing you can do with the blueberry juice is you can make Jell-O out of it. This is actually my first year trying to make Jell-O. I'd seen so many different recipes on it. I found a really basic one, and I was surprised at how easy it is to make Jell-O and how much better it is for you if you just make it at home yourself. It really doesn't take a whole lot of time, and the results are very, very good. So I'm getting my lids and my rings on all these jars. I did a total of 21 jars of the blueberry juice because that's what my canners can hold at one time. So I have my All-American canner, my big one that holds 14-quart jars. And then I just have a regular 7-quart jar canner as well. And so I got all those over there into my canners. Oh my goodness. And got those ready to go. And yeah, they turned out great. Everything went well. And I am really, really happy with the results. And I'm excited to be able to open these up this winter and have some lovely blueberry juice to enjoy. So while that stuff was in the canners and going in the canners, I decided again to get some use out of all these cucumbers that I'm getting from the garden. And this time around, I am going to make some refrigerator pickles. When I first printed off this recipe, I didn't realize that that's what I printed off, but that's okay. So I'm getting all these cucumbers sliced up. I had a big container of cucumbers, and the recipe says I need at least 4 pounds of cucumbers, which is great because I have a ton of cucumbers. And it's so funny when I go to look up a recipe and it's like, use 4 cucumbers. And I'm like, I have 20. I need a bigger recipe than this. And I know you can do the math and all that jazz, but it's nice just to find a big recipe. So you don't have to do all the extra thinking when it comes to the recipes and all the extra multiplication. But anyways, so there's the cucumbers and oh yeah, sorry. So this is how my brain works. When I was getting everything out for the cucumbers, I saw the zucchini that my daughter a few days ago had shredded up that was supposed to go in the freezer that I totally forgot about. And I thought, oh, heck, I need to get this done first. So this rabbit trail here, I decided to get this shredded zucchini into some half-gallon bags. I put 4 cups of shredded zucchini in each bag, and I think I got about 4 bags of the shredded zucchini to put down in the basement. But you know what? It's life. That is really how my brain works. I see something happening and I go over to fix it, forgetting that I am already in the process or in the middle of something else. So anyways, my rabbit trail has now come back to where we started, and I am out measuring all my cucumbers. So I got my 4 pounds of cucumbers, and the recipe said you take those cucumbers and you go ahead and fill your jars with those cucumbers. I'm just using pint-sized jars. Now, a lot of times I'll use the quart jars because I have a large family and the pint-sized jars don't go very far. But if I am trying a new recipe and I don't know that my children are going to enjoy it, I do them in smaller batches because I don't want to waste anything. So what I did, I got all the cucumbers in the jars. I took some of that dill from a couple weeks ago, that really big, huge thing of dill that I had gotten from the store. And I pulled all that off, chopped it up, and I just put thick bunches of dill in each jar. The recipe also called for a tablespoon of peppercorns. So I measured out a tablespoon of peppercorns and then distributed it as evenly as possible amongst all my jars of cucumbers here. And then the recipe also called for a full head of garlic. So what I did was I got some of the garlic that I had grown here on the homestead in the garden. Like I said in a previous video, I'm going to try and use up as much of it as possible before winter because I think I let it set too long in the ground and some of those outside layers that it needs died down. So I'm going to use it instead of trying to store it. I might dehydrate it. I don't know yet, but we'll see. Anyways, that's for another time. So I got that all chopped up and I distributed that into all my jars and okay. And then we had to move right into lunch. So these are some of the tomatoes from the garden. My daughter Mary wanted to make tortillas. My idea for this day, because of all the canning and preserving we were doing, was just to have some good old peanut butter and jam, homemade jam, sandwiches with some fresh veggies from the garden. And my daughter says, Mom, I am not in the mood for bread. Can I make tortillas instead? And I said, have at it. So while I was doing all my stuff, she was in the kitchen as well, and she was doing her project. She was making some tortillas. And yes, they turned out great. Everybody had a wonderful lunch, and it's really nice when you're doing all this canning and preserving to take time to sit with your children and enjoy a beautiful lunch meal with your kids. We had a birthday this week. Our little Rebecca turned 3 years old, and on her birthday, we went out to lunch, and after lunch we decided to stop by Sauter's. We didn't have much time. They were only open for about another hour, so we didn't get to tour the whole place. I plan on going next week with my kids because we have a family pass, but this is a lovely Miss Nancy. Miss Nancy is a really good friend of the family, and she is the broom maker at Sauter's Village, and she is such a sweetheart. She's such a treat, and she was showing the kids how to make the brooms, and the kids got to help her. And each of the children, I don't remember what these were called, but they have a little metal piece in the middle, and that's what helps protect the hands from getting hurt with the big old needle that goes through the broom that they use to weave the broom. And the children got to learn, where the broom making material comes from, how you can find it, even in our area growing alongside the road. She said it actually kind of looks like a stalk of corn when it's growing. But here's Peter, doing putting his through. And I think Mary was the one videotaping. Mary and Peter went back and forth videotaping because I was right there sitting in the back. I was nursing Norman. And but the kids were like, Mom, let us do it. So they got to run the camera. And here's little Miss Rebecca. She also got to try her hand at it. And then you got Emily back there. You can't really see her, but you got Emily back there. She also got to do it. And the kids had a great time. And after Sodders, we went home. We enjoyed a great meal together. We got some cake from the store because I didn't have time to make one. Rebecca got to open a couple presents, and we had a wonderful evening. But hey, that is it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed the time you got to spend with my family. Have a very blessed week. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.